Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to episode 1 of our Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri Alien Crossfire Let's Play. I'm very excited to get in on this, and without further ado, let us start a game. Obviously the graphics are a little bit dated in here because it is an older game, but I don't know, I think it stands up pretty well. One thing, just as a caveat, if there are going to be any videos at any point, there'll probably be a small window just up here, because I think normally there'd be a resolution change, but, excuse me, it won't, that won't happen because of the way I'm recording it. So any videos might be a little weird, but the gameplay is going to be just fine. So I'm going to start on the map of planet, just the standard setting, just trying to. It'll have a few distinctive features and things like that, and theoretically be nice and balanced. We'll see. But of course, we could play a random map, and I'm going to play. Well, we'll try Librarian difficulty. It's actually been a long time since I've played. I'm probably going to get my ass kicked on Librarian, frankly, but it'll be a challenge. And there are a lot of customizable rules that you can do to change the game, but I'm actually going to use the standard rules just to get a nice sort of experience. The biggest difference that you can do with a customized game is the blind research. You can turn it on and off, and I'll get into that in the game. But we're going to play standard rules. And we've got the factions. So these are the original 7 factions here from the original game. These are the 7 from the expansion. You can mix and match as much as you want. And you can play with, 7 random. I'm going to play with the 7 original factions. I'm going to take the University of Planet as my faction because they've always been my favorite. We can click info and find out what their stats are. The leader of the faction is Dr. Prokhor Zakharov. He is from the Russian Commonwealth. He was the Unity science officer. Unity was our ship, our spaceship. His agenda is research and the free flow of information. They automatically start with the information networks technology. They have +2 research in general, though they research faster, -2 probe, which means their espionage is a lot weaker. They start with the free network node everywhere, which is basically like a library in Civ. It just gives you bonus research. They also start with an extra technology at the beginning of the game. They get an extra drone for every 4 citizens. Drones are basically your unhappy citizens. It says lack of ethics. Basically, these guys, they're all brilliant scientists, but they're more than happy to experiment on their own population. So there's a little bit of unhappiness. Yeah, there are some morally ambiguous people in this game here. I'm just looking at the audio and it looks like it might be getting blown out, so I'm going to turn it down just a bit. That's my microphone side. I mean, my levels, oh yeah, they're 100. Let's try it at 80 and see what that does. Just don't want it to get blown out there. That looks a little bit better. Hopefully you can still hear me. Actually, I'm gonna finish setting up the game, and then I'm gonna go listen to this recording and make sure that everything's okay. So yeah, I'm gonna take University of Planet. I won't go through the rest of them. We will learn who everyone is as we play. So without further ado, let's go. You should hear a little recording here when I hit OK.
The substructure of the universe regresses infinitely toward smaller and smaller components. Behind atoms we find electrons, and behind electrons quarks. Each layer unraveled reveals new secrets, but also new mysteries. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, for I have tasted the fruit.
And this game is full of quotes like that. I love it. We're going to leave the name as Zakharov. I don't know how you say it properly. He says it. I just heard it in the recording, and yet I'm still unable to pronounce it properly. Zakharov. I don't know. So I'm going to leave it as that. Planetfall. Zakharov. A new era of struggle and opportunity awaits you. The UN starship Unity has arrived in the Alpha Centauri system after a 40-year voyage. All contact with Earth has been lost. After Captain Garland's assassination by an unknown assailant, the crew mutinied and split into factions. In the ensuing conflict, some seized control of the Unity's colony pods. You now shape the destiny of your university faction, which has just made Planetfall. Here we are. The name of our first base, we're just going to call it University Base. This is our faction. And that's it. I'm going to stop this here, just check the audio levels, and I'll be right back with a second part. So sit tight. Oops, I got to tab out. Ah, how embarrassing! Alright, bye guys.